Jonathan Reynolds.
Mr. Speaker, this is a speech I could not even have imagined of giving just a few days ago. How bitterly ironic it feels to be here in one of the greatest debating chambers the world has ever known, and yet no words can do justice to our sense of loss or the grief we feel for Joe's family. My wife Claire and I have known Joe and her husband Brendan for many years. They are a couple very much like each other, driven, passionate and impatient to change the world. I remember before the last election having dinner with them on their boat and encouraging Jo to stand for selection if her hometown constituency of Batley and Spen came up. I thought she would be a brilliant candidate for Labour and a huge asset to Parliament. Her whole life had been spent serving others. I told her she could continue to do that here in Parliament. Yet her willingness to enter public service has now cost her her life. Over the weekend, many people have rightly praised Jo's maiden speech or cited her campaigning on Syria and refugees as the way that they will remember her. But it's a different sort of story about Jo as a friend and a mother that has been the memory most on my mind. It was at Labour Party conference about 5 years ago when my wife was breastfeeding our daughter at a fringe event and feeling quite self-conscious about it. Some older comrades still not at ease with that sort of thing. Jo saw that and she sat down next to Claire and began to feed her own son just to show solidarity with Claire and to make her feel better. It's just an example of how she always thought of others in her everyday life. They went on to work together through Labour Women's Network, which Jo would chair, whilst also changing the world through her day job and raising her young family with so much love. Through Labour Women's Network, she would fight for other working class women to have the same opportunities as her, to end everyday sexism, and to make politics a safer space for women. What agony it is that her life is now forever a testament to just how important those causes are. But she was right to believe in public service. She was right to believe in making the world a better place. And Mr. Speaker, she was right to believe in this place. In the overwhelming grief of this story, there are shards of hope that exemplify just what this country is really about. The two unarmed police officers who wrestled her assailant to the ground. The 77-year-old retired miner Bernard Kenny, who dashed from his car to try and save her. Her assistant, Fasila Razwat, who was with her when it happened. These are the true faces of the Britain that we love. And most of all, there is Jo herself. Once when I had my own daughter with me in this place, she turned to me and asked, "Daddy, can little girls become the Prime Minister?" Now, when our daughters ask us that question, let us tell them and inspire them with Jo's story. Jo the parliamentarian, Jo the campaigner, Jo the mother, and Jo our friend.
Colleagues, thank you to everyone who has spoken in tribute to Jo and in support of her family. There is a tributes motion, and I have to put the question, but I hope that when I do so, it will attract the loudest unified response in the history of this House. The question is that this House has considered the matter of tributes to Jo Cox. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. The contrary no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it.